Deep Work, Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World by Cal Newport, full book summary. In a world where notifications buzz every few seconds, where multitasking is seen as a badge of honor, and where scrolling endlessly through social media has become second nature, the ability to focus deeply on meaningful work is vanishing. But according to Cal Newport, this lost skill is the key to thriving in our modern age. In his compelling book Deep Work, Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World, Newport introduces a philosophy that pushes back against the tide of distraction and champions the power of deep, uninterrupted focus. His message is simple but revolutionary: if you want to be successful, fulfilled, and truly productive, you need to master the art of deep work. Newport defines deep work as professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limit. These efforts create new value, improve your skill, and are hard to replicate. On the other hand, shallow work refers to tasks that are non-cognitively demanding, often performed while distracted, and easily replicated. Think answering emails, attending status update meetings, or mindlessly browsing online. Newport argues that our culture has developed an unhealthy bias toward shallow work, and as a result, deep work is becoming increasingly rare. But it's also becoming more valuable. In the age of automation and AI, those who can perform deep work will thrive. The book is structured around two core parts. First, Newport lays out the ideas that support the deep work hypothesis, why it's important and how it provides a competitive advantage. Second, he offers practical rules to implement deep work in our everyday lives. He doesn't just explain why it matters, he tells us how to do it. Let's begin with why deep work is so critical. Newport suggests that we're living in what he calls the new economy, where three groups will dominate: those who can work well and creatively with intelligent machines, those who are the best at what they do, and those with access to capital. Regardless of your field, if you want to thrive, you must cultivate two core abilities. First, the ability to master hard things quickly. Second, the ability to produce at an elite level, in terms of both quality and speed. Deep work is the foundational skill that makes both possible. Newport illustrates this with real-world examples. He talks about Carl Jung, who retreated to a stone tower in the woods to develop his psychoanalytical theories. He mentions Bill Gates, who would isolate himself for weeks to read, reflect, and strategize. Even in the tech-driven chaos of the modern workplace, Newport argues, deep work is not just for monks and scholars, it's essential for anyone who wants to achieve more. But here's the catch. We live in a culture of constant connectivity. Open offices, instant messaging, and an always-on mentality make deep work not just rare but actively discouraged. Many workplaces reward quick responses over meaningful progress. We've been trained to value busyness over depth. Newport calls this the cult of the internet, a belief that being always connected and always visible equals productivity. In reality, it often leads to shallow, fragmented thinking. To combat this, Newport presents 4 rules that form the heart of the book. These rules don't just explain the philosophy of deep work, they offer a roadmap to integrate it into your daily life. Rule number 1, work deeply. This rule centers around creating the right conditions for deep work to flourish. Willpower, Newport explains, is limited. You can't rely on motivation alone to achieve depth. Instead, you must engineer routines and rituals that make deep work a natural part of your day. He introduces several strategies to support this. One is the monastic approach, where you eliminate or drastically minimize shallow obligations to focus entirely on deep work. This is ideal for those whose success depends heavily on deep thought. Another is the bimodal strategy, where you divide your time into stretches of deep work and stretches of everything else. Then there's the rhythmic philosophy: set a consistent schedule where deep work becomes a daily habit, like going to the gym. Finally, the journalistic approach lets you slip into deep work whenever you can, even in a chaotic schedule, though this requires intense mental discipline. To make these strategies work, Newport emphasizes the importance of rituals. Choose your location, define how long you'll work, decide how you'll measure progress, and determine how you'll support your focus. Will you eliminate distractions by turning off your phone? Will you keep a scoreboard of deep work hours? The goal is to make deep work so structured and habitual that it becomes a part of who you are. Rule number 2, embrace boredom. In a culture where we're trained to check our phones every time we feel even a flicker of boredom, this rule is a game changer. Newport argues that to build the capacity for deep work, we must retrain our brains to tolerate boredom. Attention, like a muscle, needs rest and exercise. If you constantly switch tasks or stimulate yourself with social media, you weaken your ability to concentrate. Newport introduces the idea of productive meditation. This doesn't mean sitting cross-legged in silence, but rather thinking deeply about a problem while doing something physical like walking or driving. The challenge is to resist letting your mind wander. When distractions creep in, gently bring your focus back to the problem. It's like lifting weights for your brain. He also advises scheduling internet use. Yes, schedule it. Instead of mindlessly browsing whenever you feel the urge, designate specific times for checking email or scrolling through social media. This trains your mind to resist distractions and strengthens your ability to focus when it matters. Rule number 3, quit social media. This rule doesn't mean you must delete every account and disappear from the grid. Instead, Newport challenges the assumption that social media is inherently valuable. He introduces the craftsman approach to tool selection, which encourages evaluating tools based on whether they significantly contribute to your key goals. Ask yourself, does Twitter really help me become better at my craft? Does Facebook meaningfully improve my professional or personal life? If not, consider stepping away. Newport recommends conducting a 30-day social media fast, then evaluating what you missed. You'll likely find that most platforms offer minor benefits that come at the cost of major distractions. More than anything, this rule is about intentionality. Don't use tools just because everyone else is using them. Use them because they serve your goals. Otherwise, they become thieves of your time and attention. Rule number 4, drain the shallows. Even the most disciplined deep worker must deal with shallow tasks. The goal isn't to eliminate them entirely, but to minimize them and prevent them from taking over your day. Newport suggests several practical strategies. First, schedule every minute of your day. This doesn't mean micromanaging your life down to the second, but creating time blocks for different types of work. If plans change, adjust the schedule. The idea is to treat your time with respect, like a valuable resource. Second, say no more often. Be selective about meetings, collaborations, and opportunities that don't align with your deep work goals. Newport points out that many meetings and emails are unnecessary and can often be avoided or simplified. He also recommends the fixed schedule productivity method. Set strict boundaries around your work hours, and then work backward to fit everything important into that time. This forces you to focus on what truly matters and cut the rest. Newport even gets into email. He suggests being more intentional in how you send and respond to messages. Use a process-centric approach, clearly define the next steps, reduce back and forth, and don't feel obligated to reply to every message. This isn't about being rude. It's about protecting your time so you can create things that matter. Throughout the book, Newport weaves in stories and examples that bring his ideas to life. He shares how author Neal Stephenson famously avoids email and public appearances to protect his writing time. He references business leaders, academics, and creatives who have achieved extraordinary results by prioritizing depth. Each example reinforces the core message: deep work is not just a productivity hack. It's a path to excellence. Newport also tackles common objections. What if my job requires constant communication? What if I'm not in control of my schedule? He acknowledges these challenges but insists that almost everyone can make space